everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. My name is Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And today I wanted to show you how to make a Z-fold card. Now, I know I've made these cards in the past. This time I'm going to make it in the portrait orientation. Normally they are made from a 4 1/4 by 11 inch piece of cardstock that you score and fold. This time I'm using 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 and I'm going to have it portrait. So it's going to be a little bit, not quite as long and narrow, a little bit taller and skinnier, I guess. But I thought it would be kind of fun to switch it up and do a portrait orientation for this. I'm using the Storybook Gnomes, which is a new product suite from the July to December mini catalog from Stampin' Up! That just launched July 1st. It's so adorable. And I've said this before, I'm not usually a cutesy image, you know. I tend to go for more natural images, more kind of leaves and, you know, those kinds of things. But this one just caught my eye and it's so pretty. The colors are amazing and these gnomes are so adorable. So let me switch over to my desktop and we'll get started making the card. Oops, let's go this way. There we go. All right, so this is the bundle that comes with the suite. So the suite actually includes the bundle, includes designer series paper. It includes some gorgeous sparkle gems and some really pretty ribbon. I am not using the ribbon today because it's in balmy blue and white, and my colors are going to be Coastal Cabana and Crumb Cake. The designer series paper is gorgeous, but let's look at this. This is the bundle. You get the dies to cut out the gnomes and this great mushroom, as well as the ability to cut out gnomes so that you can just make them using dies. I actually shared a card recently, and also these great little toadstools, mushroom caps, and then the stems. So we're going to use some of the dies and only this. Actually, I've stamped the mushroom because I couldn't find one to cut out of the designer series paper in the colors I want. All right, so let's bring in my supplies. So as I said, I'm using Coastal Cabana, and get my pieces out of the way here. This designer series paper is part of it, and it just caught my eye with these pretty Christmas trees in Coastal Cabana and Crumb Cake. And then on the other side, this designer series paper has images that you can cut out, and also there are sheets with the images that will cut out this toadstool or this mushroom home if you want. Like I said, the colors aren't what I wanted for this card, so I'm going to actually color this one. And I've also got 2 of the gnomes that I picked out that have the Coastal Cabana in them. There are 2 sheets of the gnomes, and you can actually use your dies to cut these out, or you can fussy cut them. I'm going to actually do some fussy cutting today, just because I don't have my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine quite handy. And then I've cut out the deer, the moose, this cute little bunny. And I've also pre-cut out 2 of the mushroom caps. So these little pieces here and the stems. And I've got my pieces. So let's put these all kind of up at the top so I don't lose them. Oops, lose that stem for my mushroom. All right, so like I said, I'm going to make this. Let me just move these out of the way. All right, where's my trimmer? I'm going to make this portrait fold. So what we want to do is, first of all, we're going to score this. This is cut 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and we're going to score it at 4 1/4. That's the halfway mark. And then we want to divide the front panel, the front of our card, in half. So half of 4 1/4 is 2 1/8. So we're going to score this at 2 1/8. All right, so we've got our card base. We've also got another piece we might as well actually score. And we're going to, so this piece is cut, I believe I cut this 1 1/2 by 8 1/2. So you need a piece that is the same width as your card base, and then whatever sorry, same length as your card base, and then whatever width you want. So I've got mine 1.5. And again, I'm going to score this at, so it needs to be scored in the same way. So 2 1/8 and 4 1/4. So as I said, it gets scored exactly the same as your card base. All right, grab my bone folder. As always, I always fold into the mountain or the raised line. So I'm going to fold on the halfway to form your card base. This is, give it a good burnish with your bone folder. And then you want to fold this front flap, so this 2 1/8 inch flap, backwards. So again, fold it in half and then fold back this flap. So you end up with what looks kind of like a Z or Z if you're not if you're in the US. All right, so now this piece, we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to fold in this in half and then fold back on the flap like that. Now when this card goes together, we're actually going to alternate this. So we've got the front 2 1/8 inch flap at the front of your card base, and for your band, you're going to put it at the back. So this is the piece that's going to connect these two together. And when you open it, you're going to have it looking like this. But we're going to do some decorating before we start. So I've gone ahead and cut out some designer series paper and some crumb cake. So I cut crumb cake. This is cut to be 2 inches by 5 3/8, and you need 2 pieces of those. And then you need 2 pieces of designer series paper that are 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. So we're just going to have a peekaboo of the crumb cake. And we're just going to adhere this designer series paper. You can pick whichever designer series paper you like. I just really was drawn to the combination, the color combination of Coastal Cabana and crumb cake. Oops. Use whatever adhesive you like. I'm still on my liquid glue kick. I don't know, it just seems easy these days to grab the liquid glue. A little more forgiving than the Stampin' Seal, but there are some absolute things I use my Stampin' Seal for. So if I have ribbon that I've wrapped around the back of my cardstock, I absolutely use Stampin' Seal to, because I just feel it holds the ribbon better. All right, and then these are going to go on to these 2 flaps. You don't have to do it on this second flap, but I just kind of like the look of it being completely decorated when you open your card. All right, so we'll put that. So you see, you can just have got a peekaboo of the crumb cake. What I love about the designer series paper, and this is true for Stampin' Up, regardless of what the one side is, you know, if it coordinates with the suite, the other side, they typically have so that it could be used for anything. It doesn't have to be, you know, not necessarily gnomes. This is just such a pretty color combination and a pretty set of trees. Now, I also cut a piece of crumb cake. So we're going to do an extra layer. So this is cut 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then I've got a piece of basic white that is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. I'm not going to decorate this. I'm not going to stamp on this because this is just going to be the background for all of the other pieces that we're going to cut out and decorate along that band. So I'm just going to try and get that even. There we go. And then we'll adhere this to the back side, or to the what would be the inside of the card. All right. I don't often put an extra layer on the inside, but I just really love this color combination with the crumb cake. All right. Oops, I got a little bit of glue there. Okay, so there's your card to start with. So now we can put this band on. And again, you want to have this opposite to what your card is. So on your card base, you've got these two smaller flaps, these 2 1/8 inch flaps to the left-hand side. Well, for the band, we're going to have those to the right-hand side. So we've created those exactly the same way. We folded it in half and then flipped this back. And then we're going to adhere this. And the only parts that you're going to adhere are just along here. So these two ends, you don't want to adhere this middle part of this. And you can put this wherever you want. You could have it down lower. I'm going to have mine down a little bit low because I'm going to include some of my cutouts, and I want them to be standing up. I like to use Terran tape. If I can find my Terran tape. There's some. I like to use Terran tape on this because this is going to move around. It's going to be opening your card, and so I just find Terran tape is stronger. You could use Stampin' Seal or Stampin' Seal Plus. You could use liquid glue as well. I just find that this is a little bit stronger. And again, I'm only putting it along this one flap. That one's fine. I've got 3 strips. And then on this side, I'm just going to put it just a couple of strips because I don't want this to extend I don't want to extend past that 2 1/8 inch mark. So let's just take those off for now and get this positioned where we want it. So I am going to put it about 1 inch or so from the bottom. As I said, you can put this anywhere you want, but I've just got it 1 inch or so from the bottom. And then I can fold this back and flip these pieces off. Take your pick tool and just get that point underneath it, and then you can just fold it flat, and then this is now your card base. So you can see the Z like that. Okay. All right, so now let's start decorating. Let's get my other pieces out. So let's bring in my pieces. So I'm going to do a little bit of fussy cutting if I can find my scissors. My paper snips. So I just rough cut these out. There are dies. I'm just going to take, and because I don't have my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, I'm just going to take and cut these out using my paper snips. If you can absolutely use the dies, and I probably should, but I don't know. I don't mind fussy cutting. When you are fussy cutting, make sure you're actually moving the paper with the opposite hand. So the hand that doesn't have the scissors, you want to be kind of moving your paper. Don't be steering with the hand that has the scissors in it. You will just get frustrated by that. You just get a much better cut if you steer the paper, move the paper with the hand that doesn't have your scissors. Okay, so as I said, use your dies. If I had my machine, I would absolutely do this. I moved my workstation last weekend for an event, and I haven't moved it back. So I need to get it back to where I actually have my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine handier. All right. I did go ahead and stamp out the mushroom, the fairy, I call them at a fairy house. I already stamped and have cut it out using the die so that you don't have to watch me fussy cut. But these are easy to fussy cut. All right, so there's my 2 gnomes. I went and cut the moose and the deer and the bunny out of the designer series paper. That's going to be for my sentiment. And like I said, I was worried about losing. I also cut out these 2 little mushroom caps out of Bermuda Bay because I thought just having a pop of Bermuda Bay, and then 2 of the stems out of crumb cake. So let's just do some coloring for this mushroom. I grabbed some Pool Party, some Bermuda Bay, and some crumb cake. So I think I'm going to do the top of the mushroom in in crumb cake. So I'm just going to do light crumb cake. I always start with the light. I'm not sure that there's right or wrong way to do coloring with your blends, but I start with the light and then I go back over it and add in some dark afterwards and do the blending. I'm just kind of giving it a rough layer. I like to use the wide brush until I get into some spots that are just too small, and then I go to the fine brush. So we're just going to do around like that. Probably should have had some yellow perhaps for the windows, but I didn't. All right, so I'm just going to use my brush and I'm going to just kind of go in where these lines are already there by the concept artist. They make it really easy for us to figure out where to add some shading. So I'm just going to go over this. And I'm just going to do the same. I should have colored that too, but all right. So now we'll bring back our light and I'm just kind of blending over just to kind of blend the lines out a little bit. It also adds some depth of color to it. There we go. And now I'm just going to do the inside, kind of underneath. All right. Now I'm going to do this roof line in dark Pool Party. There isn't a Coastal Cabana blend, so we'll just use this. And then I'm going to bring in the light Bermuda Bay, and I'm going to do my windows, this window anyway, like that, and around the door. Not sure what color I'm going to do. I may change my mind and do the entire mushroom in crumb cake, but we'll see. This is the dark. I want the light Pool Party. So we're going to do the door in light Pool Party. And we'll go over this in some of the Bermuda Bay. Let's do these cross hatches. You can use your markers for this. Yeah, whatever you want. Okay, so I think I'm going to change my mind up and we're going to do the whole mushroom in crumb cake. I'm kind of liking adding in some more of the crumb cake to my card. There we go. And just go in and let's bring in back some. There. Probably should have some yellow on that for the windows. I'll just grab a yellow to do, makes it look like there's lights on in the windows. All right, this is light So Saffron. So we'll just put some yellow in the windows so it looks like they've got the lights on and somebody's home. There we go. Okay, so we've got our coloring done with our blends. And so now it's just a matter of figuring out where you want to put your images. So for example, now I may have too many images cut. So the question is, am I going to use all of them? So if I don't put my moose might have to go on the front here. Might not. Maybe I'll use the deer instead. So this is the thing. You kind of have to figure out where you want to put put some of your images. And maybe the deer will go here on it with the little bunny. Maybe the deer and the bunny will go inside on that. And we will put this, and where's my, so I'm going to use glue dots to put my these little mushrooms together. So we'll just use if I can get it, a glue dot to attach these to the stems. Let's see which way I want this to go. Oh gosh, got the glue dot stuck on my fingernail. Okay, so we'll do that, like that. And there it is. Gosh. Having a hard time holding on to things today. All right, so there, and then we can put a glue dot. So if your glue dot's a little bit, if it's too big, you can just take and put it on and then use your fingers just to try and just kind of squeeze it around and make it fit the size you want, and then you can kind of attach it. All right, so we're just going to put these like that. So again, I'm going to use another glue dot. I love glue dots. Come on off. There we go. All right, so we'll just put that like that. And then we will put this, I'm going to just use a little bit of liquid glue just on the bottom here, because it really is just going to stick on to our band. I'm going to have to move these mushrooms. I'm going to put them right on there like that. Okay, and now I'm going to use dimensionals to pop up some of the gnomes. Again, only putting these so they adhere to the band and not to, in this case, it could actually adhere to the card base, but there's a gnome that's home. All right, and then we'll put Mrs. Gnome. At least I'm assuming it's Mrs. Gnome with the braids. So we'll put her here, and then we'll put this deer. So we'll just use dimensionals again, and we're just going to use them on the middle of the deer, and that's what will stick to the band like that. And then the little bunny will stick on top. So you can decorate this however you want. I just need one. I just cut out some of the animals and the gnomes that had the coastal cabana. Now, the last thing I need, and the one thing I don't want, is for them to stick down. Show. There we go. So now we've got them hidden. They were sticking down. Now we do need a sentiment. So I grabbed the sentiment that says Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Now it's not going to fit. It's not going to fit here like I thought it might. So I'm going to stamp it using Coastal Cabana on a piece. I've got a scrap of basic white like that. And I'm just going to fussy cut this out and put it underneath my gnome. You could use a label if you want, but I'm just going to take, and I'm not going to go around it. I'm just going to cut straight lines because that's easy. Doesn't matter if it's perfectly straight. Sometimes that's better. It definitely isn't straight. And we're just going to put it here underneath, and we'll use some dimensionals to pop this up like that. Yep. And debating. I think we'll just put it underneath there. All right. So there we go. I'll use the moose on another card. So there is a Z Fold card featuring the Storybook Gnomes, and this is again portrait orientation as opposed to the landscape that it typically is. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, just leave a comment underneath this video. Or if you find your way over to the blog post where I've got this featured, the link will be underneath this video. All of the written instructions and measurements will be on the blog post so that you'll be able to follow along if you've missed anything as I've been going through the video. Again, if you have questions, just leave a comment. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please make sure you take the time to hit that subscribe button underneath so that you get notified when I go live or when I post an upcoming video. I'd love for you to be a subscriber. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. I hope you have a great day. Happy stamping. Bye.